and welcome everyone to Unity. This month, if you've been here for a couple of weeks, you know that we've been talking about faith. And at Unity, each month we represent, or we kind of behold the spiritual faculties of the disciples. And this month we are looking at Peter, who represents that faith. And what does faith actually mean? Many people talk about it. They get it confused with belief or hope. And so I just wanted to set the record straight today with that faith. And before we begin, I want to tell you just a little bit of a story of what happened to me over the past couple of weeks. So last week I wasn't here because I had a bum knee. So I was wrestling with my boyfriend's kids, and I went to do a body slam, and my knee gave out. And normally, I love wrestling. I love, just fighting with children, apparently. And the only time I can win. And unfortunately, he was just a little bit too much, and so we both ended up dropping to the ground, and my knee buckled. But in that, I had a previous surgery when I played football in the Air Force, and I had torn my ACL. All of a sudden, my mind went right back to that moment, and there was this fear thought that entered my mind, like, oh no, what if I tore my ACL again? What if I tore a ligament? And in that moment, I had to stop. I had to use my faith to say, nope, that is not going to be my story. And over the next week or so, I went in to get an x-ray. Everything looked okay. They wanted to do an MRI. I have yet to get an MRI done. But my knee, every single day, I was on crutches and a big brace and everything like that. And now I can, you saw me in heels earlier, but I was like, oh, that's just doing it a little too much. I'm going to put on some slippers now and be a bit more relaxed in this moment. But it's our faith that moves these mountains, where the mind wants to take you to the worst case scenario. And my mind, believe me, wanted to take me to the place of 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I had torn my knee originally. It said, oh, the pain is similar. Oh, it did the same thing. And oh no, Johanna, I think and I had to stop. It said, nope, we will not go, not today. Not today. I will not bow down to that thought. And so I had to, as Jesus, what did he do? He dispelled those type of things. He kicked them out of the consciousness. Yes. And so I had to move that mountain, that thinking that was trying to be rock solid in my mind. And I said, no, that is not the promise that the Lord has given me. God has given me health. God has given me wholeness. And I refuse to think less of my knee, of my state, and now we're here. It's getting better and better every day and in every way. And sometimes we need to just speak the truth to ourselves, even though the appearance says, no, guess what? This feels the same. Oh, remember when Jimmy, 20 years ago did this to you? Well, Bobby right now is doing the same thing. We have to stop that. And our faith tells us that we cannot go down the same old roads that we were once traveling on if we want to experience something new. Now, we can always go back to the life that we had. It's easy. Believe me, I know that road. That road's an easy path to follow because I've already treaded it many times. And it is clear, it is free, and I know exactly where it takes me. Do I want to go down that road again? So we're called to a different way of being. We are called to lift ourselves, to become that rock in consciousness, not of despair, not of the bad news, but something else. We have all these promises, not only in the Bible, but other inspired spiritual texts of telling us of the good news. And how many of you are ready for some good news in your life? All right. Some of you not. That's okay. We're gonna hopefully get you there. But for those that want to take a journey with me on this good news road, on this glorified road, on this road where all things are possible, let us go. Now, faith, what is it? It's spiritual assurance, the power to do something that is seemingly impossible. When the mind says no, faith says yes. Biblically, as June had said earlier in Hebrews 11:1, it is the knowingness, the assurance that something good is happening in our lives, even though we can't see it yet, even though it doesn't present itself. And you know what? There are going to be some naysayers out there as well that tell you that it's not possible. But with faith, all things are possible because God is attached to that. Because with God, all things are possible. We have grown up in a world, and it's not our parents' fault or their, it's just the way it is, this consciousness that when something bad happens, then, oh, now I'm going to expect something else, like this domino effect. Break yourself free. Free yourself from the chains that bind. That's what faith does for us. Even though we can't see it, let us get into the feeling nature of ourselves. Start feeling excited about the future. And faith comes from knowing. When you can understand who God is in, through, and as you, then you know that you can transcend all things in this world. We were given dominion. Yes. Remember in Genesis, dominion over all things, all situations. We were told that we have the power, the control. And Jesus best demonstrated that. Now, I know some of you don't like looking at the Bible. I don't know what your Sunday school teacher 40 years ago told you, but I'm here to tell you something different if you haven't already heard the good news, the God news. That God is always present. That I don't care what that doctor, that boss, that boyfriend, that child of yours has told you. There's a truth about you that nobody knows about. Because they didn't give you your identity. Who gave you your identity? God. You are the child of the Most High. And when you can identify with that and not with the outer, you begin to transcend those things that seem limited in your life. You are an unlimited being here. You have come to show up and show out. Jesus walked on water. What will you do? He said, these things I do, you will be able to do and more. He gave the call. Who here is willing to answer it? 14 of you. Great. No, I see a lot of hands. I'm just joking. But we're here to answer that call. When somebody poses a challenge, some people try to shrink, shy away from it. I like to meet them with that challenge. What is the purpose of life anyway if we cannot meet this challenge? Even if we fall a bit short, we still up doing big things. Each one of you is here for your specific purpose. You have an integral part in the plan of life, the plan of your life. Your ancestors, they watch, they wait. Those that have yet to be are sitting, waiting for you to do what it was that you came here to do. And our faith in knowing our connection with God will unlock those doors. And guess what we don't have to do? We don't have to beat down the doors, kick them down. We don't have to go storming the shorelines. When you have faith, that knowing, it's the key that unlocks that door. It causes the ocean to be calm. Peace, be still, and know what? That I am God. How was Jesus able to calm the storms? He had the faith in the one that sent him. You were sent. You didn't just show up. I mean, some people might have, I don't know. But I'm going to claim it for you. You were sent. You are holy. You are deserving of all the things that this wonderful life can give. But you have to believe. Growing up in Chicago, we were instilled with a lot of beliefs that probably don't serve me too well these days. I remember, and I won't say who it is, but I remember being told as a child that if I didn't wear socks to bed, that I would get a sore throat. So I wore socks to bed in the summertime, in the springtime, of course in the wintertime, so I wouldn't get a sore throat. And then one day, I think I forgot to wear socks. And I was a child that was a bit plagued with strep throat growing up, so I always was trying to wear my socks. Where are my socks at? I got to get to bed, wear my socks. And then I forgot to wear socks. And nothing happened. I just forgot about that belief that I had. And I'm proud to say that I can claim I don't wear socks to bed anymore. And that has made, I started looking at just the different things that growing up, you know, if you do this, this will happen. Or money is hard to come by. Or you'll get sick if you're around this. Or you don't have to believe that. Actually, I dare you not to believe in it and see what happens. If you can get into the conviction and the truth of the matter of your being, that these illnesses, that this lack, that this uncomfortable relationships are not for you, do away with that belief. I promise you, if you get into that and start examining your belief systems from the time that you can remember your first memory and start to kind of unpeel or peel back the layers of that onion, you're going to find that a lot of it does not hold up. I want you to just close your eyes right now, and we're going to think about just one belief. Just doesn't have to be big. What was something that you were told as a child that you wish to now dispel in your adult life? And for the kids that are here, what are some of the beliefs that you have? Maybe it's that I'm a girl and I can't do this, or I'm a boy and I can't do that, or whatever it is. Look at those beliefs. And if you don't like that belief, if it feels too restrictive to you, release it. Your faith has made you whole. When you can put your faith in a belief that is different, maybe the exact opposite of what you were told, then all the possibilities open up for you. And Jesus, and you can open your eyes now, I see everybody sleeping. And Jesus was this way shower. He came, he showed up, and he showed out in life. And the first instances we can see him starting to heal and say your faith has made you heal or whole or well is when he healed the woman with the blood issues. Then he went on to heal the 10 lepers and the blind beggar. And we see it again in Matthew 8:13 and in Matthew 15:28. That all these healings, the raising of Lazarus, it was because his faith was with the one that sent him. He took time to reflect on things. He took time to get to know and to have that connection, that personal connection with who he called Abba or Father. And he gave us the same call in life to do that. How many of you meditate every day? All right, great. How many of you want to meditate every day? Okay, even more, okay? Meditating restores our awareness of that presence. There is so much clamor in this world. Social media, the news reports, whoever, CNN, whatever you want to call it, telling us something has gone terribly wrong and you better prepare yourself for the worst. This pandemic is one of those things that we got to really look and face kind of our inner demons. This inner fear that we may have had. Some of us hunkered down. Is it bunkered or hunkered? Hunkered. Okay, bunkered. I'm still in my military brain. Hunkered down. Some of us didn't do anything and just went about life as is. But it got to show us where our faith was. Without saying much more, I'm glad to see each one of you here present. Our faith brings us into community feeling safe. Our faith even allows us to walk into a room and turn on the light switch. We don't really have to know how everything operates, but I know when I go and turn on that light switch that something is going to happen. I didn't install the cables and the wires or anything else or invent the light bulb, but I know that when I flip on that switch, that something is going to happen. I don't even have to think about it. And that's what faith is. When you start to get into that rhythm, that groove of allowing yourself to believe the things that the world says is impossible. When you say, no, with God, all things are possible. I was told this. I believe it. I'm going to change any type of belief that goes against it. And I'm going to go forward in my call. You don't have to know how everything works. So just with that light bulb, with that the electrical switch, we can make that same connection where we flip it on and allow it to stay on in our lives. But this is something that is easy to say, I would say. That when you are establishing or reestablishing your connection with that one true source, your one true good, your one true God, that there's going to be, whether it's the thoughts that come in or the people that say it's not possible, there's going to be instances, these trials that come up. And those are opportunities, and just think of them as opportunities to prove the power within you, to show the world that you mean business, that you did not come on your own, that you were sent. It's always God who is the healer in all things. Sometimes we attribute this healing to the medicines, this healing to, or let's say in relationships, the person acting right again, and so now things are at peace again. But really, it is the consciousness that we stay at, that we align with, that does that healing. And it does it in proportion to what the faith that you put into it. Now you have, and I didn't understand this when I first came to Unity, you have all the faith you're ever going to have. I didn't even understand. I'm like, what do you mean I got all the faith? But where are you putting your faith, basically? Do you have faith in a negative outcome? Do you have faith in what the news is reporting? Do you have a belief that's tied to that, and now your faith goes with it? Or are you 100% giving your faith, giving yourself, your mind, your heart to what is true, what is good, and what is of God? We've come here to explore the things and to untangle those things within us that are not serving the highest good. If you're in pain, if your bank account looks a little low in funds, start to look at some of these beliefs. Your beliefs will rise up and tell you, it's showing you on the outer what you're believing on the inner. You're always living your belief system. No one here is a victim of circumstance. If you truly look and believe that you are connected with God, exploring that, you will come to the truth. You will find a belief that is attached to it. Your belief system is what either propels you forward or what holds you back. And healing of anything is just restoring the original integrity. You came here sinless, faultless, pure, brand new. How do we get back to that oneness that never left us? How do we get back to that God being, that God essence and presence that we each have within us? Meditation I mentioned earlier. Then we also have prayer. And I'm not talking about like the prayer for petition or supplication. I'm talking about this affirmative prayer that even if I don't really feel it in the moment, I'm just going to speak it. I'm going to use the power of my spoken word because your words have power. I'm going to use the power of my spoken word to declare, to decree to the universe, to the world, what is the truth of the situation. If the doctor tells you that something is terminal, that it can't be done, that you are at the end of your line, you have only a certain time to live, start going on the internet. Start looking at good news stories. There are people that are going through or that have gone through exactly what you are going through and have come out on the other end stronger, wiser, filled with faith. You can borrow somebody's faith. They had the faith. Go on. Believe me, I did tons of research on everything, and there are good news stories out there of people who held fast to their faith, that held fast to the truth, and were able to dumbfound even the best of doctors with their miraculous healings. Each one of us has that capability because each one of us has the same, at our very core, is of the same make and model. Just because Jimmy over there had something horrible happen to him doesn't mean that it has to happen to Johanna. I can always find and I will always find what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for the bad news, I'm going to find it. But guess what? If I am looking for that good news, if I'm looking for that miracle, if I am looking for the miraculous, I will find it as well. And it does not hide from me. God will not hide from you. God will not hide the truth from you. All right, this is not a hide and go seek. This is real life. All that is required is to release the old and step into the new. Do not fill wineskins or old wineskins with new wine. You have to discard everything. You take on a new identity, be born anew. And being born anew means getting rid of resentment, releasing even people. If I have a grudge, I consciously, when I can remember, try to release it or go through the releasing process. The Fillmores, Charles Fillmore, every single night and he's the co-founder of Unity, just in case you didn't know, he would go to bed, and right before he went to sleep, he would go throughout his day. He would replay the day. Anybody that needed his forgiveness, including himself, don't ever take yourself out of the equation of forgiveness, he would then release them. He never went to bed with an ill thought of someone. He did his work at night. So this week, let us take the time to replay our day at the end of the night as you are falling asleep, when you're in that creative space of releasing resentment, of practicing forgiveness for ourselves and for others, of moving forward through that process. If you find a belief that, oh, Janie's too mean, or release that too. Release all of it, that resentment, so you can wake up the next day with a fresh start. And throughout the day, did you know that you can reset your day? Have faith that you can reset things in your life. If a day happens where it's 12 noon and it hasn't been going well, consciously and audibly tell yourself that you are resetting the day. Put faith that you have that ability to do so. And watch what happens next. Expect wonderful things to unfold for you in that moment. Expect that the slate has been wiped clean. That is the power that you have. You are like the puppet master in your life. And ultimately, you get to control all the things that happen within. You can either be at peace, filled with faith, or you can be in despair, filled with resentment. Happiness is a choice. Peace is a choice. And allowing your faith to just lead the way is a choice. Releasing beliefs is something that will open the way for something better for you. When Jesus said, your faith has healed you, your faith has made you well, your faith has made you whole. He's asking for you to examine the heaviness in your life and to take on the lightness of faith in God and that power that resides within you. We move forward together in this month of faith. We allow the promises, whether they're in the Bible or other inspired texts, we allow those promises to assist us in our faith. We look for the good. We look for the good news stories. We look for the God within. And I invite you to just close the outer eye as we continue to look for this presence of God, this assurance of things that we hope for, knowing that hope is faith in action. We know and see the oneness that we have with the Creator. We breathe into the surety that God has things covered. We need not kick down that door. The key to unlocking the goodness of our lives is within us. We place our faith, our knowingness of the things we can't see yet. We place it in the hollow of the hand that has led us to this moment. We see that our faith can and will make us whole, transform our lives as we go into the silence. And we just allow that breath of God, that faith, that spark of divinity to shine bright on any shadow, on any darkness, because the light can never stay hidden for long.